Hello, hello, and welcome once again. J76NY here, and we are up to episode number 31 of our For the People playthrough on Torpor Games Suzerain. Things have taken a turn for the worse for our boy Anton. He was betrayed by Lilius Graf. He was betrayed by that freaking snake chief advisor. Not even going to say his name. That pissed me off. What happened was we went to the party to get the vote for the nomination for a candidate for president so he could run again. Lucian sided with Lilius Graf, and she got the vote. So we are not going to be up for re-election. We will be a one-term wonder. Situation-wise, we've managed to so far stay out of a war with Rumberg. Our economy is picking up, it would seem. We have no budget deficit. We're also broke. But we're about to be impeached, which is what we're going to get into today. The impeachment trial of Anton Rayne. I took a deep breath and opened the grand doors leading to the Supreme Court. There were no camera flashes this time, no journalists or reporters. Nobody was allowed in the courtroom except the people related to my case. The attendees watched me quietly as I walked down the aisle to the defendant's table. I took a seat and everyone followed suit. Quiet chatter began in the courtroom, which continued until the door behind the podium opened. A county clerk entered and ordered everyone to rise for the judges. Rise from your seat. Might as well show respect to the old guard before he tossed the book at us for God knows what. This kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden I was found out I was being impeached. So let's see what happens here. The Supreme Court justices entered and took their seats one by one. I looked at Chief Justice Orso Hawker. After he was seated, he pulled out his reading glasses and quickly rifled through the documents in front of him. He put down the papers and looked at me. This court is now in session. He is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He is an Associate Justice, and so is she. You may be seated. I call the case of the impeachment charge against the President of Swordland. The case number is 385372. Sounds like we're getting tried for a parking ticket. This case will proceed as follows. Both parties will have the opportunity to present their evidence. The prosecution will be called upon first, followed by the defendant. After both parties present their claims, the court will present its final verdict on this case. This court now summons Lucian Galad to present his evidence. Lucian Galad, my chief strategist, walked in, making a conscious effort to avoid my gaze. Thank you, Your Honor. Lucian sat down at the table. I'm not going to make any comment. He gave me a small, humorless smile before turning his attention to the judges. Your Honor, dear attendees, I worked along Anton Rayne for many years, and I have seen firsthand how he treats the office of president. Some of the orders he gave me were completely atrocious and utterly undemocratic. You lying. Unfortunately, I had no choice but to obey. The president told me that if I failed to carry out his orders, my life would be in danger, which I never did. Liar. Silence in the court, Mr. Galad. Please continue. Thank you, Your Honor. His underhanded and criminal ways are certainly grounds for impeachment. Today I wish to clean my conscience by aiding in the removal of this rogue president from his post. What a snake. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Galad. Thank you, Your Honor. I wish to present my evidence now. I was personally present when the president attended a secret backroom meeting in Conrad. This meeting was with Marcel Caranti, the CEO of Heart of Swordland. Well, I did do that. He offered a deal to President Rayne, an unlawful one. In return for special protection from the Swordish government, he would effectively skew all major media in the president's favor. I begged Mr. Rayne not to accept. You did not. Despite my warnings, he eagerly took the deal. The results are all too apparent. Objection. Overruled. Yep. I provided the court with voice recordings of said meeting as well as the full transcript. A court assistant brought out a tape recorder and pressed play. I couldn't believe it. I heard Lucian's voice begging me not to accept Marcel's deal and myself angrily overriding him. This definitely wasn't how it had happened. No, he actually encouraged me. Tape must be tampered with. I never said that. Silence! My personal investigations turned up shocking news about President Rayne's seemingly perfect family. His son, Anton Rayne, is currently studying at Holsworth State University. During a meeting with the Minister of Education, Kira Walda, I came across a list of university exam marks received by the children of government officials. My curiosity got the better of me, and I found Anton Rayne's scores. They disqualified him from nearly every university in the country, let alone Holsworth State, so I followed the trail. I found out that the president abused his power to grant his son acceptance into Holsworth State University. He held up a paper. This is the list I mentioned, as well as the enrollment information from the university. That is all the evidence I have to present to the Supreme Court today. Thank you, Mr. Galad. We will take the substantial evidence you have provided into consideration. You may leave. I would like to have a closing word. This man cannot be allowed to be president of Swordland. The evidence is clear, and we need to uphold the law. I have full confidence that this court will bring Anton Rayne to justice. How long have you been planning this? Silence in the court! Thank you for your time. Lucian rose up from his seat, and with one last look back at me, he left. This court now summons Edith Agnock to present her evidence. Chairwoman of the Central Bank of Swordland, Edith Agnock, entered the courtroom nonchalantly and took her seat. Thank you, Your Honor. She whispered to me quietly from the table opposite mine. I'm sorry, Anton, I really am, but I'm just the messenger. Don't reply. She turned her attention to the papers in front of her. I am here at the request of a person who shall not be named to present this incriminating evidence against the president of Swordland. Walter Tusk comes to mind. Does the person who granted you with the rights to present evidence in his or her stead wish to remain anonymous before this court? Yes, Your Honor. Very well. Permission granted. This court will respect the anonymity of the witness. Thank you. The summary of the evidence I have provided to the court is as follows. There has apparently been a deal between Mr. President and Marcel Caranti in Mr. Caranti's villa in Conriat. Mr. Caranti agreed to use the media to support the president's rhetoric in exchange for protection against various government policies that could otherwise target his company. The evidence includes a voice recording by the security personnel in the villa. The government privatization program was supposed to have opened the shares of the privatized companies to the public. Instead, a backroom deal was struck, and these shares were transferred to Marcel Caranti, while guilty as charged. This is the end of my summary. The evidence is well documented and proven to be true, according to the files provided by my anonymous client. He pulled out a very large stack of papers that she could barely carry and put it on the table with a loud thud. This is a very convincing report. Thank you for presenting the evidence, Mrs. Agnock. You may leave the room. Edith collected her belongings and left the courtroom, not looking back at me as she did so. All evidence has now been presented in the court. We will now proceed with the defendant. In the light of these allegations, what do you have to say for yourself? Here we go. All I have to say is, fuck you. Probably not the best way to go out. I deny all of this. This is a ploy to end my presidency. I will not accept a guilty verdict. Does it even matter? I'm going to make it out of this, and one day you're all going to pay for what you've done to me. We're going to go with number one. There is no place for conspiracy theories in this court, Mr. President. The evidence has been presented in clear and irrefutable manner. This court will now proceed with the final evaluation of the evidence before announcing its verdict. Don't I get some type of rebuttal or defense? Apparently not. The justices all stood up and left the room. I started thinking about my life to that point, where it had all gone wrong. Half an hour passed. Where the hell were the justices? After nearly an hour of excruciating waiting, the door opened again. The justices took their seat to deliver the final verdict. I took a deep breath. What's happening? Other than I get a Steam achievement. Holy shit. 1958. Supreme Court of Swordland. The gavel was tapped 2 times and Orso Hawker demanded silence in the loud room. After a long pause, he ordered everybody to rise. One of his retainers handed him the letter with the verdict. Orso opened it with a barely suppressed smile. Knowing what was coming next, you felt that you did your best for Swordland no matter what. The next words you heard were, "It is hereby decided that Anton Rayne is impeached from office." The crowd in the courtroom, the very same people who celebrated your inauguration, erupted in loud cheers. You thought about how you would go down in history as the first impeached president of Swordland. But the judge wasn't done speaking. For the magnitude of his crimes against Swordland, Anton Rayne is sentenced to life in prison. The crowd cheered even louder this time. Security officers grabbed your arms and started walking you towards the door. As you were walking, you worried about the future of your family. 1959, Antel Rock Prison. Oh my. Your cell was cold and lonely. The only decoration you put on the damp, dark walls were photos of Frank and Deanna. For a while, reading was the only thing you could do. After finishing the precious books sent by Monica, you kept yourself busy by writing your own memoirs. Meanwhile, your family visited you at least once a month. Time flies in jail. 1964, Antel Rock Prison. Frank visited you for the first time in years, bringing along his wife and son. They reminded you of your own family in better times. You held your grandson for the first time. He squirmed and started crying in your arms. Frank told you that he joined the ranks of the People's Freedom and Justice Party. You said... Told him not to get too deep into politics. 1968. It had been months since Monica's last visit. In the middle of the night, the warden knocked roughly on your door and told you you had visitors. Frank, his wife, and Deanna were waiting for you with teary eyes. Something was wrong. Seeing you, Deanna quickly turned around, hiding her face. Frank couldn't hold his tears anymore and told you that his mother passed away. His mother, your wife, Monica. Overcome with grief. This is a depressing end to the series here. Oh boy. You returned to your cell numb and exhausted. Every passing second was torture as you rotted away in this dark, isolated hellhole. Lying down on your bed, you looked at the belt and the metal pipe in the ceiling. Well, we could off ourselves or don't do it. We're not going to do it. 1976. The year I was born. In case you were wondering. J76. You spent the rest of your life between 4 walls. Eventually, old age caught up with you. You were discharged from prison to the hospital to spend your last moments with your family. As you took your last breath, you grabbed Frank and Deanna. You pulled them close and said, "I'm sorry." Frank and Deanna started crying and hugged you. You could feel you were slipping away. Your eyes filled with tears and started to close, never to be opened again. And so Anton Rayne was no more. I get an achievement for being impeached. Go me. Oh, here we go. Let's see what this is. History will remember you as Swordish capitalist. Alright? Show Swordish politicians. So I am in league with Wissy, Alfonso, Franz Richter, Albin Clavin. Wow. Swordish capitalist. All right. Anton Rayne, 4th president of Swordland, in office from 1954 to 1958. 2 vice presidents, Peter Vector and Albin Clavin, preceded by Ewald Alfonso, which is this guy. Succeeded by Albin Clavin. Oh, because I got impeached, so he became president. Between 1954 and 1958, 2.5 million workers benefited from minimum wage. 82% less maternal deaths were recorded. 8,222 people died to criminal violence. 33,760 people were arrested for their suspected ties to Red Youth and Young Swords. 102,345 conscripts joined the workforce. More than 15,899 people with Bluish descent were released from prison. 3,899 legal cases were delayed. 1,340 women won a domestic violence case at court. 5 million people lost their state health care coverage. 5,200 state employees lost their jobs, while 3 oligarchs obtained 20% of the Swordish economy. There we go. That is the story of Anton Rayne. We have just completed my first playthrough of Suzerain. If you like this series, hit the like button. I am going to be doing 2 more series on this game. I'm going to be doing a For the State playthrough where I focus mostly on government power and the power of Anton Rayne. And then I'm going to do one just for fun called the Douchebag playthrough, where I'm going to pick, out of all the options available, the absolute douchiest one all the time. Family, friends, colleagues, lackeys, whatever it is. We are going douche to the max on that one. So if you would like to follow through the For the State playthrough or the Douchebag playthrough, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. I'm thinking about doing the D-Bag playthrough first. It seems like it might be kind of fun. See if I can get myself assassinated. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode and our For the People playthrough on Suzerain. I hope you guys did enjoy the series. Look forward to seeing you in the future. Leave your thoughts, tips, and advice in the comment section below. Let me know what you think I should do for the next playthrough. J76NY saying thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a very good day.